For centuries, the cities of Mecca and Medina, known as the Haramayn, have served as the undisputed center of the Islamic world, drawing millions of pilgrims and concentrating an immense amount of religious and political authority. In 1517, that authority was seized by force. They turned the protection of the desert into a diplomatic leverage point that would dictate the terms of global engagement until the 20th century. To hold the Hijaz, the Ottomans first had to restructure the geography of the Middle East to keep their desert outposts supplied. They utilized the agricultural wealth and tax revenue of Egypt to fund the cities in the Hijaz and ensure they remained loyal. These supply lines were vital because the holy sites were exposed to two major threats: the rival Safavid Empire to the east and the growing reach of European naval powers in the surrounding seas. But physical defense was only half the battle. Every year, the Sultan sent the Suri Humayun, massive caravans of gold and gifts from Istanbul, to maintain the loyalty of local tribal leaders. This logistical effort demonstrated that military strength alone couldn't govern the region. To stay in power, the Ottomans had to physically demonstrate their commitment to the welfare of the holy cities. While the gold flowed south, the Ottomans furthered their religious claim by physically connecting the capital to the lineage of the Prophet. They moved the Prophet's mantle and sword from Cairo to the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, transforming it into the spiritual vault of the Sunni world. By the late 19th century, losing territory in Europe, Sultan Abdul Hamid II turned to a more aggressive use of this religious prestige. He promoted pan-Islamism, an ideology that aimed to unify his shrinking and fragmented empire under the single religious banner of the caliphate. A cycle of reciprocal authority emerged. Spending heavily to protect Mecca secured the Sultan the title of Caliph. Controlling the Hajj let him project this influence directly into rival colonies, reaching Muslims in British India and French North Africa. The title of Caliph had become a strategic deterrent. If European powers attacked Ottoman lands, the Sultan could easily encourage religious resistance within their own colonial borders. In 1914, the outbreak of the First World War put this strategy to the test, as the Ottomans faced the British, French, and Russians. Sultan Mehmet V activated this religious defense, officially declaring a global jihad against the Allied powers. The move caused significant anxiety in London and Paris. War planners feared that the call would force them to divert troops from the Western Front to deal with uprisings in their colonies. The Ottomans also used this religious framing to unify and mobilize their multi-ethnic soldiers for a war that threatened the very existence of the empire. By 1914, the religious framing of the conflict was set. The Ottomans had transformed a territorial dispute in Europe into a credible threat of global religious war. To defeat the Ottoman state, the British realized they had to separate the Sultan from his source of religious authority by ending his monopoly on the holy cities. They backed a local leader, Sharif Hussein of Mecca, to lead a revolt from within the Hijaz in 1916. These British-backed forces eventually drove the Ottomans out of the region, permanently severing the empire from Mecca and Medina. Losing physical control of the Hijaz dealt a fatal blow to Ottoman religious prestige. This loss of legitimacy accelerated the decline of the office, which would be formally abolished by the new Turkish Republic in 1924. The Ottoman protection of Mecca was never just about geography. It was a primary source of their status as a global power, proving that an empire's most durable defense often lies in its control of sacred symbols.